everybody. Today, what I want to talk to you about are your words. Before I begin, I want to give credit to the author that first helped me to raise my awareness of the word and the power of the word, and that is from the book The Four Agreements by Don Miguel Ruiz. I don't recall now where the knowledge he shared ends and my personal beliefs or perspective begin. So I encourage you, if you're interested in this subject, to buy the book The Four Agreements. It's an excellent foundational book to help you get started on your personal spiritual development that pays respects to all religions and all belief systems. I think it's really powerful, and I see people sometimes say, oh, I read it in a day or a week. I personally didn't take it that way. What I did is I processed it one agreement at a time, and it took me a long time because I would read one, would practice it and practice it until it really became second nature, and then I would take on the next one. It's not something that you just consume and it's who you are, but the principles in the book really should be who we are. And again, because it pays respects to all religions and belief systems, I really think that it's a non-divisive way to raise your awareness and your knowledge. So in the book, one of the agreements is be impeccable with your word. And what I know now is that word is the only creation, is the only power of creation that the divine creator of all things, the God, the one true God, gave to man. And with our words, we can create beauty or destruction in another. We can build someone or we can tear them down with just a few simple words. And when you raise your awareness of your word and the power of your word, it really helps you to move through life in such a way that you don't end up regretting the things that you do. You don't regret the things that you say, because even if the thing you say is harsh, you, with intention, chose those words. You knew what you were saying because you are fully aware and impeccable with your word. So you don't end up apologizing for the things you say or the things that you do. And for me, that's one of the most important things that translates into especially romantic relationships. Of course, not many people live that way, and so it can be difficult to keep your integrity and your impeccability with your word in relationships, especially romantic ones, because there's passion there. And when our partners are hurt, they will often say things that they will regret or that are hurtful back to us. And it's in those moments that you're really tested with your impeccability. And your word is the only true tool that you have in life. Your divine currency is your attention, which I talked about in a different video. But the tool you have to create is the word. The tool that you have to chisel away anger, negativity, fear is the word. And by that I mean that you can use that tool even when somebody is not impeccable with you and they're hurtful to you. You can use that tool in such a way that you chisel away at their ignorance or their hate or whatever's happening. You become attacked by somebody and you just patiently sit there in the awareness that they're not aware of their word, they're not impeccable with their word. Okay, that's you, but here's who I am. And you keep that impeccability. You ensure that your words, even if they're harsh, you're not trying to destroy someone. You're trying to maintain your boundary. You're trying to explain yourself. You're trying to push back against someone who is causing harm to you. But if they get hurt, if you're impeccable with your word and someone else is hurt by it, that's not your responsibility. But if you just say whatever pops into your head and you use your word in ways that you might regret, or that are hateful, or that are negative on purpose or without intention, then you might end up in a situation where you have to apologize. I have a friend that apologizes for nothing. I mean, all the time. And I'm always telling this friend, stop saying I'm sorry. Because when it really comes down to it, when it really matters, you have invalidated your word because you're sorry that it's raining and you have no control over that. You're sorry that you didn't call back. Okay, but if you're sorry for it all the time, it loses power. And then when you do something really bad, you can stuff your sorries in a sack. I don't know how many people have even heard me say I'm sorry in the last decade. I could count them on my hand. And in my relationship, I'm going through a divorce now, unfortunately. I never had to apologize to my partner. And my partner would tell you he never hurt me. He never said anything cruel or hateful, even if I deserved it. He never used his word against me. He only ever used his word in defense, support, or creation of himself. Now, it takes somebody who's fully aware to say that, or to know that, which is also quite rare. But it's one thing that I'm extremely proud of, to be in a marriage and to have gone through so many things with someone, and to be able to say, I never hurt that person. I never just did anything to their face or behind their back that was destructive of them, or negative, or hurtful. I maintained my integrity in my actions and in my word. And when you choose to be impeccable with your word and you practice it, eventually it comes to a point that you don't know anything different. You don't know how to be any different than that. And it doesn't mean that you don't use your words sometimes to manipulate or deceive. Not that you should, but sometimes your belief system tells you that that's what best serves you, is to manipulate or deceive in this minor situation. But it's the destruction that I'm focusing on. It's the way that people use their words to constantly lie, to constantly fabricate a reality which doesn't exist. And when you use your word to try to fabricate a false reality to others, that is, what some would call a sin, because you're not giving them the opportunity or the respect to know the truth. And it will come back to bite you, especially now. We're in the return of Christ consciousness. We're in the age of Aquarius. We're in the dissolution of false power systems. And it's, now the cycle is so short that it's going to come back and bite you immediately. Those who are intent on deception have lost the power to deceive. They have lost the power to hide who they truly are. And I'm sure that you probably are starting to see this in your life, because especially narcissists, we're in the fall of the narcissist, where they can't pretend to be a good person anymore. And they're not conscious that they're revealing their true nature. And some people who are stuck in the low vibration of fear and lack, they aren't seeing the new truth yet. But anyone who's on the path toward ascension and rising can very easily see, more easily than ever before in the history of humanity, can easily see that this person is changing. It looks like they're changing, but the reality is this is who they've always been. They've just lost the ability, the power that was given to being false, to being deceptive, to being a liar, to taking from others, to abusing others, the power is gone. We have been through a massive shift the past several months. We've been through a really big one, the last full moon Sunday, I think the 4th of February 2026. But the months leading up to that were an insane amount of planetary alignments, esoteric predictions coming to fruition, the veil getting thinner and thinner to where it has totally fallen now. And we're seeing all this revealing to people all over the world of the people that we pay attention to. Attention is a whole other video that I posted also, that we've paid attention to, and by paying them our attention, we've given them the power to deceive and to misinform and to misguide and to do deeds in the dark. Sorry, I have to make a note. To do deeds in the dark that were entrapping humanity in cycles of fear and trauma. And the evil on earth feeds off the trauma, feeds off the fear, feeds off the lack, and it's lost its power. The light workers have won our war against the darkness. And after 26,000 years of an energetic binding put on the earth, it has broken, and now is the enlightenment of the human race, and we're seeing the true reality of what is going on around us. Denial is something that people will hold on to and grab onto immediately because it is more comfortable, and it is easier to deny the truth than to face the fear and the fire for a lot of people. But I'm here to tell you today that you're not going to be able to do that. It's not going to work anymore, and it's not going to work for long. What used to take us years as individuals to accept and to face and to learn is going to start taking weeks. And it's a real gift to people who are asleep. But if you are not choosing to be aware, which is what these videos are all about, if you're not choosing that, it's going to be turmoil. It's going to look like chaos. It's going to look like total loss instead of surrender. It's going to look like you're being stripped away instead of divine denial. It's going to look like, you know, you can't hold on to loved ones or a job instead of removal. And these are all tethering, denial, removal, attention. These are all other videos labeled as such on this channel. So I encourage you, if you're interested, to watch those videos. I'm trying to make these a little bit shorter so that they can reach more people and are very focused on a specific topic each time. So I just want to advise everyone to be aware that your words are your power of creation, and the way that you use them is what matters in this life. It's what matters beyond this 3D flesh and bone experience we're having. And when you choose to be aware of them, and when you constantly try to be better with them, that is all that the divine demands of you. That is the point of life, that we can choose the dark on earth. We can choose to be hateful and negative and destructive, but we don't. We balance it, and we can use the dark. We can sit with our demons and pour them a cup of tea. We can use it to protect ourselves and to protect others. You don't have to be nice all the time. You should be good. And being good means being good to yourself, speaking to yourself, using your word with kindness and love to yourself. Our bodies are mostly water. Japanese scientists have proven that water has memory. It's affected by the vibration and the frequency of what it is exposed to. So if you are thinking bad things about yourself, very much so if you're saying negative things about yourself out loud or into the mirror or to others, you are damaging your cells. You are damaging every single part of yourself. Not only are you making it true, but you are hurting yourself. You are creating illness. You are creating destruction of the beauty in which you were created. Be careful with your words. Be careful with the way that you use them toward yourself. Be careful with the way you use them toward others, because it's the way we affect others that creates karma or sin. What you do to yourself is your own free will and your own choice. But if you're aware that speaking or thinking negatively about yourself affects the water in your body, and therefore every cell in your body, every atom, then you're going to be more careful. And when you show love and kindness to yourself, you will get to a point where you refuse to show anything but that to anyone else, because it's no longer in your nature to hurt yourself. And so therefore you don't want to hurt others. Be careful with the way that you use your words. Be aware of the way that you use your words, and do your best to use them in a loving, kind way. And when you make a mistake, when you do hurt others, when you do speak to them in a destructive, negative, hateful way, I encourage you to own that, to go to those people, to go to that person and say, I shouldn't have done that. I apologize. And it can instantly heal any destruction that you caused in them. It can clear that karma, it can clear that sin, it can clear that debt. The only real sin in life is the way you affect others. When you hurt others with your direct actions, not those that are unintentional, not those that are a mistake. And remember, mistakes only happen 1 or 2 times. If it's something you keep doing, it's a choice. But when it's just a mistake, when you use everything as a learning experience, you will not sin, you will not acquire negative karma, and you will not invite the universe to destroy you.